Well, hello, Christ Community Church. Here I am in my little cubby hole at home doing church work, prepping for Sunday, and getting a newsletter out to you in the mail later today, which is where you're seeing this video most likely. You might also catch it on Facebook or our YouTube announcements page. We got a few different ways that we put that out. But here's the deal. I hope you'll join us Sunday, just a couple of days from now, continuing our gripes giving theme, and it's been really great. I think the last two Sundays, the first Sunday where I talked about that film loop that plays in our head and tells us all the things that God doesn't want us to dwell on and think about, but instead he wants us to know about his goodness and his graciousness and his mercy towards us. And then last Sunday, Jason just hit it out of the park with a message about managing our time and making sure that within that time we find a holy space for God. And that in that time, as has been my experience, and I know many others, that if we'll do that first, then God somehow miraculously helps us to manage the rest of the time, which can be so busy that we have. And then this Sunday, I'm using a theme that we talked about a few weeks ago when we had a Sunday with some testimonies and just some beautiful expressions of people's faith and trust in the Lord. It comes out of John chapter 1, verse 5. It says, the light has come into the world, and the darkness cannot overcome it. And it's going to be a great visual demonstration. I've got some props that were made for me very lovingly by Heather Ashley with the assistance of her wingman, Don, Dr. Don Ashley, a few years ago, several years ago. I don't remember how long it's been since we've last used this illustration, but I'm so grateful for it, and I'm excited to go get them out of the loft today or tomorrow and get them all set up. But it's going to be a great time together. Now, with that being said, it is almost 11 a.m. on Friday. I don't know if we're going to hear something from our municipal leadership today, although I wouldn't be surprised. But we might hear something over the weekend or perhaps on Monday. But given the nature of the governor's address yesterday, which I will put a link to below this video if you haven't seen it, if you would please take the time to make yourself aware of the potential healthcare crisis that we will face here in the city of Anchorage, as the COVID virus is pretty much now out of control in our community. We're so thankful that at this point we have enjoyed a very low mortality rate and serious complications for a lot of people in our community. It is important to note, if you have not taken the time to look at the information, I've mentioned before my friend Pastor Willie over at University Baptist. He was in a coma and near death for 3 weeks with the COVID virus. Pastor Willie happens to be a Pacific Islander, and if you're not aware, in our community and many others, our Pacific Island friends, our Alaskan Native friends, our African American friends are significantly more at risk. We don't really understand why, but they are, of terrible complications and even death from the COVID virus. And so this is what we talk about at Christ Community when we talk about being good to our neighbors and doing what we can. It might not affect me very much. I have some underlying conditions that could put me at risk. Some of you have some serious underlying conditions that could really put you at risk, and some of you don't. And so I'm appealing to you to set aside what you may or may not think about the truth of this virus or how serious it might be because your own experience and your circle of friends hasn't had much trouble. I want you to set all of that aside and think of the neighbors in your community. And as we learned from Jesus in the story of the Good Samaritan, when the disciples asked, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus' demonstration was, even the person you may dislike or hate the most is your neighbor. So be good to your neighbor. Dr. Zink yesterday, our chief medical officer here in the state of Alaska, said, this virus doesn't care what your politics are. It doesn't care whether you think masks do or don't work. It doesn't care whether you think that washing your hands is a good idea. And it doesn't care whether you think that going out to party at the bar or sit at a table in a restaurant or have parties at your house are okay to do. It doesn't care about any of those things. What it cares about is, are you a living host, and can it get in you and survive and use you to move on to other hosts? So with that in mind, we will have church on Sunday. We will be open, but I'm encouraging you, if you can, if you have a great connection at home and will join us by live stream, I'm going to encourage you to do that. Our technical team will be there, our worship team will be there, and the doors will be open. The announcement is here in this little newsletter about a very small gathering after church for Dr. Charles, but we will be socially distant, we will be masked, we're not serving any food or drink. Got some music and some video stuff that we'll share and enjoy some time together, but I don't expect a lot of people to be at that. So that's the instruction for this Sunday. If you can join us by live stream, please do so. And then we will be live stream only for the following 2 Sundays, the last 2 Sundays of November. And I'll be working with our tech team and our worship team to gather from them their level of comfortability of being in the building with one another. And we'll honor them in however they need to take care of their families and their households. And then we'll see where we go after that. We are planning some things for Christmas Eve, which could be complicated this year, prayerfully, hopefully, if we can keep things sort of under control, which they're not in a medical sense and a health sense in our community. Things are not at all under control right now and are very close to being wildly out of control. That's not a political statement, by the way. Those are just the facts. And if you need some help understanding that, you can drop me an email at pastortracy@c3ak.com with a phone number, and I'd be happy to have that conversation with you and direct you to some resources that will help you understand that if that's confusing to you. But hopefully we'll be able to meet for Christmas Eve and maybe some Sundays in between now and then. We're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. But Pastor Jason and I have talked, and as your pastors, we care for you very much. We love you very much, and we want to do the best that we can for, again, our neighbors, which includes you, who we love, and those who we don't even know. And so that's what we're going to do for the next few weeks. I hope to see you online with us on Sunday, and a few of you probably in person on Sunday, because I know that's how that works. And then we'll move on from there, and we'll keep you updated as much as we can. All right, friends, I love you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.